All right, welcome to the running journey. I'm Rob Tatro. It's my brother Charlie Tatro. We are the two brothers that form the duo here for the running journey. Thanks for joining us, guys. We are 2 weeks away from Boston Marathon, a race that Charlie's wanted to do his entire life, and I never thought it was possible that I'd do the Boston, but here we are running that in 2 weeks. We are into the taper of Boston Marathon. Hayes in the barn, would you say, for you, Charlie?
Yeah, I hope so. We'll see. Yeah, feeling pretty good.
Is there enough hay in the barn? Is there a lot of hay?
There's quite a bit of hay,
There's a
but
lot of hay.
the horses will have a lot of or maybe I don't know. Horses probably like oats a little bit better, but anyways, so
Wait. What's the thing you're saying there? You're saying that
uh, I guess the calves will have a lot to eat for a while because there's a decent amount of hay in the barn.
is that a reference to your calves, the muscle, or calves, the children of cows?
Yeah, children of cows. Yeah,
The
you got it.
calves will have a lot to eat. Okay.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they have enough to eat because they'll need miles 23 to 26. They'll need a lot of hay, I guess.
Yeah. You've
The
put
other
a
calves.
ton of hay in the barn over the last while.
Yeah, I feel like it's been going really well. Yeah.
You've definitely put more hay in this barn this season than you did last year for LA. Did you not? Or sorry, last marathon that you trained hard for. So the marathon where we qualified for this race was in LA in November 15 months ago,
Yeah.
17 months ago.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know, like the running qualification period for Boston begins in November and ends in November,
Sorry. Well, it begins in September and ends
September.
in September. There's actually, I'm not sure if I understand this correctly, but I think there's like 2 weeks of overlap where you could actually use it for either.
Okay, but the weekend that we qualified, Charlie, was the first day of qualifying. I think it was an off year because of COVID, right? They reset
Oh,
it
yeah, that's right. It was a different. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You're right. So
November
that year it
12th.
was different because of COVID. Yeah.
Had we had the race been a day earlier, we could have ran Boston 12 months ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
would have not have done as well. I don't know your
No, I
opinion.
think it was, yeah, no, it was good. It was perfect. Yeah.
So
So,
we the last time that we trained like this for a marathon and not triathlon or Ironman or something else was like when we trained for that race, which was 17 months ago, right?
yeah, very similar for me, except that I was injured up to like 2 months before that one.
Yeah.
So I really only put on volume maybe for like 2 months before that one. It went really well. This one, I've been having decent volume for, well, basically, so we had a big block for New York of training and then took a bit of some time off in after, and then basically since January. So it'll be 3 solid months of good training for me. So yeah, I'm pretty. It's gone really well.
Putting hay in the barn.
Yeah.
Putting hay in the barn. So I was listening to the podcast episodes on my drive to Minneapolis. I went to Minneapolis this weekend with the kids, and it was 1 year to the day, the week that you and I went. Do you remember what we did last year? We
Oh
went
yeah,
to
right. We went and tried to bike outside
it
in
was a
Minneapolis.
blizzard. There was a
Yeah.
blizzard, and we couldn't even bike. We did 12
Yeah.
minutes of biking, and we turned around, and you ended up doing 6 hours in your hotel room, or
I think
five
it
and
was
a
like
half.
five, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
five and a
It was a
half.
long time.
And I ended up doing just long runs and bikes at I went to a different hotel and I convinced them to let me use their gym and because we didn't have a gym in our hotel. Anyways, it was 1 year ago and we did the same trip. We went to Great Wolf Lodge. I took my family and same thing, blizzard in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I saw
Anyways,
you got one good run in there, but it looks like you haven't been running much. So you want to talk about that a little bit, or?
yeah, I've one thing I hate as I listen to these podcasts is I hate hearing me talk about how injured I am and how hard it is to run and how I got
Yeah,
this popliteus thing and I got this knee thing and I got this
yeah.
ankle thing. Like, oh my God, I'm sick and tired of hearing me complain about my running. So
Well, I
when I,
feel like you had quite a big stretch of a lot of different events and pretty significant events like a 50 miler and like a couple of Ironmans, and you had quite a big stretch there with no problems. And then now it's been kind of seems like you're getting recurring problems, or I'm not sure what your current problem is, but
yeah, I was thinking about that this morning. Did I get just lucky or did I just get lucky and not have, how many people you think that do the kind of lifestyle, loose term lifestyle that we do, where we're kind of constantly training for another race. And how
yeah,
many of them you think go through extended periods of health where they have no issues whatsoever, like you're having now and like I had last year? Like, is that rare, you think?
I don't know.
Or
I
is
would I
that
would hope that it wouldn't be so rare, but I think it might be a little rare. Yeah, I'm not sure because I think it's when you're that type of personality, you just want to kind of train. You just want to keep training all the time, and sometimes you really have to put the brakes on, which is hard.
that's what I did and that's what I've been struggling with?
Yeah,
Patrick has been telling me he's so the last 2 months
yeah.
I've been coughing like this, just nonstop. I'm just coughing, I'm coughing, I'm coughing. And the cough ends up hurting while I run. So while I run, as I'm jogging, if I'm coughing, it ends up being really difficult in my like the I talked about that core bladder
Like
issue that I
yeah,
had. So it's connected to muscular. I know it is now.
yeah.
It's muscular and it hurts when I run. And if I do a long run or a very tough run, it swells. That
Oh,
area swells as I cough. And then that
oh.
night, I can't sleep or
Mm.
I don't recover. So
What if
I,
you what happens when you do shorter ones like 6 miles or 5 miles? Do you still get the same thing or?
I know. And it only really happens when when in the cold air.
Oh, so
So
yeah, I feel like maybe just do more treadmill and then maybe more shorter runs. Like I think,
yeah, like yesterday I went out, I did an hour on the treadmill here, zero problems.
yeah. So I feel like you should keep doing that at least. I don't know what Patrick's got you on, but um,
So
yeah,
he told
till
me,
like
so
till it gets better, anyways. Yeah,
like I know that I can. Here's the thing, like people are sick of hearing me complain, but I know I'll be able to do one race and it's whatever, it'll be fine.
yeah,
Like it'll hurt and it'll suck that night and
yeah,
the day after, but I know I can push. I pushed a crazy effort like a month ago, right?
yeah. You did. Yeah, that
So
to me was like a 1:23 effort, something like that for a half.
that was my time, Charlie, 123.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah, that was your actual time. Forgot.
So it is what it is, as you hate when people use that expression, but I don't really have a choice. I went to see my doctor again, and I think I like my doctor. I've never had a doctor in my whole life. Do you have a doctor?
No, but I should. Well, so I thought I had one,
And
but
he's no
then I
longer
found out
there.
he had retired 10 years
Yeah,
ago.
that same thing happened to me. So I was like, I need to go see someone, and I called the number in St. Anne. They're like, oh no, he doesn't. He's retired. And I was like, oh, so I
Yeah,
guess I don't.
so very important to have a doctor. You
Is that
realize
the
it.
lesson of the day?
No, but it's like I feel like you're in your 30s and you kind of feel you're invincible. You don't see a doctor. Then you get to your 40s and you kind of forget about it, and then you end up in a time which is like your 40s where you really need to have a doctor because there's a lot of things that might creep up at that age, right?
This
Anyways, I
this
don't have one, so I need to get one.
You should. I mean, you should go see my doctor. I don't know if you should go see my doctor, but I think he's good. But he's like a realist. He's like a pragmatist. He's like
Yeah,
he doesn't BS. He's a young guy.
yeah,
Anyways, I went to see him a few times now, and he's like does not know what I. He's like It could be either that you've been really unlucky and have gone from one viral or bacterial something to another over the last 2 months, and kind of you get a little bit better, then you get something else, which is possible, lower immune system, COVID, blah blah
Could
blah.
it be something COVID related? Like,
Or it's you got COVID and you got like long COVID, which we don't understand. We
yeah,
don't really get a full grasp on, and it's
yeah.
taking you forever to. People have. He said that there's studies have shown that people have taken like months and months and months to recover from COVID.
Well, I feel like I earlier this year I had a cold, and it was just with me, and like it wasn't enough to stop me, but it was just, I could feel it, and probably lasted a month or so. So I don't know, but so yeah, that cough doesn't sound great.
No, but so it's fine now. I just cough and I cough. No big deal. I
Yeah,
cough like, I don't know, 20 times an hour roughly, give or take.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
And it's just if I'm running at a high pace and it's worse outdoors and it's worse the longer it goes.
Hmm. Okay. Well, maybe just stay indoors for a while. And
Yeah, so that's why I came to the off. Today's a day off. Today's a Good Friday. It's a
yeah.
statutory holiday in Manitoba. I brought my
Ooh, VP3s.
VP3s, which I one of the podcasts you said, I wrote it down, best shoes ever, you said.
I think the Alpha Flies. I'm realizing.
You
Look
were
now
kind of
that
half and half torn, and then you said, Vaporflies, they're slightly better. They're the best shoes ever. Vaporflies 3.
Yeah, yeah, but and for some reason, so I ran with my old Vaporflies today, and they felt really good.
Would
I
like
feel
the
like I got a
ones?
better feel on my old Vaporflies than the new Vaporfly threes that I have. But the numbers indicate that I'm pretty good with the Vaporfly threes as well. So
The number's your Charlie number you're referring, your Charlie score?
yeah, so yeah, I'll compare like similar runs and yeah.
Yeah. And
But the thing is, there's kind of some variables here. So this one, yeah, but I've been doing deeper analysis because I'm actually one of the things I'm struggling right now for Boston is which shoe to wear. So
okay, I was gonna get to that today, but okay, first I want to get back to this. I got too many, we're on too many tangents now,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
I
All
gotta go
right.
back. Okay, so I'll go back to the shoes in a sec, but before I want to finish this injury thing, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. Uh, so Patrick told me to stop running. So I've basically not ran in about a month. I've taken a few jogs here and there. I did a long one with you and Marchand, which I killed. It was my
Yeah, you did.
best
Yeah, you
jog
did. That was a
ever.
really good one.
That was my best jog ever. But that night I didn't sleep.
Really?
And I felt terrible the next day. It was really, really sore. And I used to, I don't know about you, I used to just was so blind to everything else. The only thing that mattered was training. So I would just train
Yeah, yeah.
and I didn't care about anything else. Now I'm getting older and wiser perhaps, and I'm like, am I better to recover today or am I better to train? And that's a
Well,
tough
yeah, because
decision
it's
to
bigger
make, right?
picture, right? You start thinking about the bigger picture at some
But it's
point.
hard, right? Do you
Yeah,
think it's one of the hardest things to do is to give yourself a day off when there's no reason to other than you think you need to recover?
it's hard. I haven't done that in a while.
So, my
But
God, it's
I've been feeling like really good.
so good.
So yeah.
We're kind of flipped right now. We're flipped, but I don't think I'm gonna not perform because of this, just to be clear.
Oh, that's great. I'm hoping because
Like,
I really want to do well at Boston, and I think it would be a lot easier if we ran it together.
we were pushing each other. Yeah, that's one thing. To keep taking notes, another tangent, but it's one thing that came up in the podcasts that I listened to on my drive down
Yeah,
is how much value you mentioned a few times, and I've mentioned a few times on different episodes how valuable it was to run together.
yeah,
You thought it was worth like potentially up to 5 minutes on a marathon.
yeah. I would say for sure. There's potential of it to be 5 minutes, depending on like there's a lot of factors there, like how closely matched you are. Maybe if there's too much of a difference, then maybe it's not as much. But if you're like really closely matched, you can pick each other up. And then even what like we did in our training run, this is a new thing that I thought about is like in Boston, we might be against the wind the whole time, so we could kind of split the load of. I mean, we'll still want to try to draft other people the entire way if that's the case, but we can also split the load of taking the win on that. But
Yeah,
yeah, but more it's more mental though. I feel like that run that we had together, that was my ever since that run, I've been feeling so good. And it started with that run was extremely hard for me, but you were pulling me so
I
like
felt unbelievable that day. I
yeah,
felt
yeah,
so
you were
freaking good.
pulling me. You were pulling me that run because you were felt better than me, right? But I got it done, and it was one of my best workouts. I've had a couple good ones since, but up to that point, that was probably one of my best training runs I've ever had.
Have we recorded since then? I don't remember. That was 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think I don't know. I don't think we've I don't think we have because we recorded after that was after the half, right? That we did that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was after the half. For sure it was after the half.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that run, so up until then, I would like have a tough long run and I might take one day off to recover because I wouldn't
Yeah,
sleep that night.
yeah.
But that run, so we went out, we had 20 miles to do in Marchand, Manitoba at our parents' place. And it was a morning where it was cold and there was wind, cold-ish, and there
Yeah.
was wind in our face on the one direction. And we had to do 1 mile warm up. Was it 12?
Well,
12
we have
mile,
a 7 mile, no, 6 mile fast finish, was it? I think
six
it was.
mile fast finish. Yeah. So
So,
1, 12, 6, 1, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One and then 12 miles at 7.5, I think, or 8.
Well, we did whatever. I think that was probably, we were average around 820, I think, per mile.
Oh, 8:20. Okay. I thought it was a little faster. But anyways, and then fast
Well,
finish at,
at the end, we were close to 740, whatever. Like
yeah. And
like
then
it
the
was
last six were supposed to be race pace, right?
race pace, yeah. But of course, we did quite a bit faster than race pace on that.
And there was a big wind that day.
Yeah,
So what Charlie strategized is why don't we go out against the wind and we'll come back with the wind. It'll be a lot easier.
yeah,
And
cheater workout.
I love the concept of how everything's cheater also in this podcast. The cheater Ironman that's coming up,
Yeah.
cheater shoes, just cheater workout because we planned the wind is a cheater workout.
Well, so I was like comparing that run to like the run I did last week, and I was
Which
looking at
was
the number.
unreal. And I want to get to that
Yeah,
run
yeah,
actually.
and the numbers on the fast finish were a lot better than it. But then I was like, oh yeah, it was
The
with the wind.
wind. Yeah. And we ended up alternating 1 mile each, half a mile, 1 mile each, cutting the wind on the way out.
Yeah, on the way out, going against the wind. Yeah.
So we go one behind the other, not much talking, just kind of cutting the wind. That workout flew by for
Oh
me.
yeah, it flew
For a
by. Yeah,
20, we did ended up doing
went by
21
so quick.
miles. 21 miles, it flew by and felt so good after. I was just like, it was the absolute best workout I've ever had in terms of a workout. I
Yeah,
know just intuitively, maybe I have recency bias and I only remember the
yeah,
recent
yeah,
ones, but I look back and there's nothing that compares to that. Like for a 21 miler, I mean, I had some long, long 25, 30 milers on the treadmill. I did a 30 miler on the treadmill by myself on a Sunday,
well, that's
which,
just that's more impressive, just because mentally, but
but it wasn't like fast fit. It was
yeah.
just, you're on a treadmill for 5 hours or whatever, 4.5 hours.
So I do have recency bias, but I also have data to back it up. And up to that point, that was the best training workout based on the data that I had before any race.
Okay.
So
And
for
then
me,
I had a trip to Jacksonville with my staff. We were doing it on a work thing. Um, and then I got ill, different ill, just like violently ill, like, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, all that, like a kind of a 48-hour bug type thing. And I
okay,
put it in my comments 2, 3 days. So I got hurt that night after that workout because it was a hard workout. So I took the Monday off. Tuesday, I went out for a short jog
yeah,
and I just didn't feel good at all. I was like,
yeah,
something's not right. And there was nothing wrong. I had a hard time jogging. It was like I was jogging. It was really, really hard. It felt like I was doing mile 48 of an ultra.
yeah.
And I just kind of put
I
it in
can't
my
imagine.
comments. Then Patrick's just like, something's not right. Take tomorrow off. You might be coming down with something. Lo and behold, I was sick the next week. So he was right. And
Yeah,
I missed
So
like the
I
players
want to talk
championship.
about that a little bit. Like to me, oh, you didn't go watch it at all?
I caught the last hour. Like those guys went out at
Oh,
9
that's
a.m.
why when I texted you, I was like, "How's the players?" And you're like, "No answer."
I was sitting on the toilet floor,
Oh
hugging the
no.
toilet, alternating between stuff coming out of either end.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say, so it doesn't really apply to your situation, but I feel like for me, when I'm moderately sick, like like a moderate cold, I feel like going out for a very easy run, so go even slightly easier than usual, but just go easy, like kind of makes it better for me. But only I would say that's like for a moderate cold.
I would agree. Yeah, I would agree. So I dealt with that illness. I didn't even go to the Players Championship, which the Sunday was one of the most exciting finishes, one of the coolest things, one of the reasons I flew down there. I didn't even
Yeah.
go. Those guys went,
Yeah.
and I caught an Uber at like 4 p.m. or whatever, and I caught the last hour. I did catch the finish, which was good, but I couldn't eat that weekend.
Oh
Like
God.
everything I'd eat would come up, so I felt so weak. So by the time we got back, Claude was all worried. He's like, "Hey," because he was with me on the
Yeah.
weekend, and I didn't come out of my room, and I don't drink, so
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
it used to be if that's happening and you're drunk and you're hungover, but I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
drink, so there's no excuse for not being in good shape. And I had planned all these races. I had signed up for a 10K. But like I didn't do any of that. So so he goes, "Hey, I'm a little worried. I'm really worried about you." I got home and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna try to eat. Hopefully it doesn't come out. I was starving. So I ended up crushing as much chicken and carbs and mashed potatoes and one huge meal the night I got home. And maybe that's all I needed. I needed like nutrition, or I was getting better.
Yeah.
And then I went out again and I jogged again a little bit. I did two, three, four jogs. And then this weekend I did my big jog after recovering, and the same thing happened again, the pain, and it was really bad. So all that's the end of my injury story. So I basically taken like almost a month off now,
Okay.
almost.
So now we're like 2 weeks and 2 days out. So what's your plan for the next 2 weeks?
Patrick
For
told me
Boston.
he's not changing the taper. He
Yeah,
said,
yeah, of course. You don't want to. I mean, it won't be a taper for you. It'll be an increase.
"Yeah, I texted you one day. I said 0 jogs, 0 miles done last 7 days." Nah, whatever.
And
I
I
don't
was
know.
like, I've done 79.
Yeah, so that's the one thing. I worry that I was doing so good, and then I would have that build week would have
Yeah.
been unbelievable, right? I would have had a phenomenal week, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
because I was feeling so good. So I lost
You kind of lose. So, yeah, so you lost that build week, but
two build weeks,
it's
but
also, you do like, it's not like, I feel like taking the time off or anytime you get a reduction in volume or a reduction in, it does make you in the short term, very, very short term, it makes you a little bit more fresh, especially if you've had lots of volume in the past. But at the same time, you do lose a little bit of fitness, but not that much. So,
yeah, I'm at peace with it. I'm
yeah.
at peace with whatever. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. Like I'm laying
Yeah,
it all
no,
out
it's
there.
it's the
I'm
luck of the draw
luck
sometimes,
of the draw.
Yeah.
Last night in curling, this injury, this core thing,
Oh
I
yeah,
thought
curling's tough though. Curling's a lot of ab.
oh my God, I was my first rock out of the hack. I
You're
thought,
basically holding your whole body with like the strength of your stomach, right? When you throw a curling rock, pretty much, right?
yeah, for those of you that don't know, curling, you're throwing a rock, you're sweeping, it's a Canadian national sport, which has been talked about a few times on this podcast, but I almost quit. I was like, I don't think this is good for me to do
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Nah, whatever.
Then you got warmed up a little bit.
I got warmed up and it was fine. It was fine. It was like sore or whatever.
Yeah,
So, but like this whole, I spent 7 hours driving to Minneapolis, listening to our podcast, 7 hours driving back, thinking about how much effort I waste on worrying about am I optimizing this and that, and am I, did this, was this not good for me? Was that not good for me? And I'm annoyed at myself. I was kind of annoyed at myself for how like whiny I am. So I'm just I'm done talking about this injury thing. I lost whatever I lost, but
yeah,
I think I'm gonna do well, Charlie.
yeah.
I think I'm gonna do okay. And next. Like I'm
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
my taper just like you're doing your taper.
So
My
so
tape.
the so the good news is, um, I feel like I know the course by heart, even though I've never done it. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to running it with you. Hopefully, most of the way. But yeah, and training's going well. Just gonna wait till your coughing fit is done here.
I'm good. So I wrote some notes here for questions to ask you. Okay, so let's finish talking about our taper. So I have 16 miles on Saturday. Is that what you on Sunday? Is that what you have?
Yeah, 16. Yeah.
Okay, and then we probably have the exact same schedule. So that'll be 2 weeks out. Oh, by the way, happy birthday to Yannick today. Your son, eh? His birthday.
Yeah. Well, he'll have like four of them because my wife just loves giving him birthday parties. But yeah, it's good.
Okay, but to be fair, I think that's like standard operating procedure for
Yeah, yeah, no,
boys.
of course. Yeah, yeah, no, it's great.
He
Great.
deserves four birthday parties.
Yeah, he's a good
Um,
kid. He's a good kid. We've been so when I did my 22 miler, sorry, 25 miler the other day, I felt so good after. It was weird. I've never felt that good after a 25-mile run. Um, I ended up playing soccer with Yannick for like a couple hours after and felt great.
I was not running, and I saw your run on Strava, and I was just like, at first I was like very happy for you, but then I
Yeah.
was like depressed. I was like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course.
oh
Yeah, I understand
God. I
that.
was
I
like,
understand
he's
that.
did 20. I saw your heart rate and I saw your pace. And I was like, holy shit, he's in good shape. And then I was like, could I have done that today? And I was like, I could have done that, right? I could have jogged side by side next to Charlie had I been healthy. And then I debated that for a while. I was just so impressed with that jog. I was like, that was your best training run ever, right? Beat the one before.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was definitely the best one I've ever had.
And I was thinking like 25 miles. Did Patrick put that in there or did Charlie kind of increase it? It was 20 in the thing, wasn't it? Or was it 22?
It was 22.
Yeah, and you took it to
Just
25.
ended up that because we're at the turnaround and
No, that's bullshit because it's a there and back that you did. So you went another mile and a half.
yeah, I don't know. So what I didn't like about my program, and I think I'm okay. I think I know myself enough that I can adjust things a little bit. Like I use it as a guideline, but um, so I wanted to get one additional mile. I wanted to increase one additional mile at least for my fast finish to kind of have at least a bit of a progression as it being my last big week. And I ended up just and then the easy and then I added a couple easy miles on top of that. So, but
I saw the results and I was just like, holy shit. So I texted Claude because you and I added Claude to Strava
yeah, yeah,
just so he could follow our runs. Claude's our dad.
yeah.
And I texted him and I said, hey, did you see Charlie's jog? And he's like, "Oh yeah, I did. I saw it." He said, "You had a good one too." And I was like, "No, no, I didn't." He was like, "Oh, it was such a good jog." So that was last week, right?
Uh,
That was your three
yeah,
weeks out.
that was my last Sunday. So like five days ago. Yeah, that was the big. I still feel great. It's yeah. I don't
Three
know.
days out, 3 weeks out to Boston. You did a 25 miler. Your heart rate was it was just awesome. Good for you.
Yeah.
You ended up, if I'm not mistaken, what your time for your half was like
Oh, I wasn't. It was like 1:30.
two or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But in a
In a
workout,
training run. No, I
in
think
a
it was a bit
training run.
lower than that. But yeah, in a training. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, and my sorry, and it doesn't show there, but like my legs were really tired from all the volume because I've been putting. I've never had this. So I had a 79 and a 75 mile week, and then a set that was a 79-mile week. So that was at the end of like two big weeks, and my legs were actually really tired. So I'm kind of really hopeful that on race day, with my legs a little less tired, while they should be a lot less tired, that it could go well. So I'm pretty optimistic. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm optimistic for you. I think we're allowed to talk about this without feeling insulted. I was worried, being the wrong word, perhaps, that we wouldn't be able to run together because I was pretty sure I was going to be ahead of you
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
a month ago
yeah.
based on just the recent results that we had
Yeah,
had.
yeah, I thought so too. Yeah. Well, I still think that might be the case, but
But you're man, that those last two jogs that you put, those last two big Sundays that you put together are really, really, really impressive. So, but yeah, I mean, so now, okay, now we have a taper. We have 16 miles this week, and then it's like hours and 45 minutes and stuff kind of for the week, roughly, give or take. And then
yeah,
next,
it's going to be well. So for this week, for me, it'll be like 65 miles. So it's still a decent
oh,
amount,
wow, okay.
but it's a lot less than I was doing before. And then next week it'll go down significantly, and then the last week will be super
But
light.
there's not 3 weeks left, Charlie.
What I'm saying is, yeah, this week is almost done. There's 2 days left, right?
Okay, and you're gonna finish at 65 weeks.
65 or
Yeah,
so.
okay, this is still kind of close to your peak, right?
Yeah, this is just kind of like the shoulder down of the
Yeah.
peak, you know?
Then you're
And
gonna
then,
do like what, 50 next week?
oh, I don't know. I think it'll be less. It'll be,
45?
yeah, something like
And
45.
then it's like 20,
Yeah, and then
right?
it's going to be very low amount
Because
the
I
week.
don't run race week. I don't run like the Thursday. I don't run the
Yeah,
Friday. Like,
yeah. So
but mind you,
that's,
it's a Monday this year. This thing's a Monday, so it's a
yeah, the Monday makes it a little bit
extra day of taper.
extra day of taper, yeah, which is great, I think. Um, so
Okay, so Boston Marathon coming up. This is exciting. And by the way, these episodes were my favorite when I was listening to the podcast. Episodes where we're leading up to a race and then recapping the race. They're so good because races are a big part of the journey.
yeah,
Races
yeah.
are like you love we both love the training. I think I probably like the races a little bit more than you, maybe, or do you disagree?
I love races as well.
Okay,
I
okay.
think races are where you kind of learn about yourself and learn about if you're doing the right, like, okay, did I do these things well in training, so now maybe I'll try something different the next time, or what are the key success factors? Like that race that I like, it wasn't, I don't know, it was kind of a terrible race, but it wasn't that terrible.
The SoCal River Half
Yeah,
Marathon.
the SoCal one, like it was still good because I feel like I actually learned a lot about things that I cannot do in races. So it's
Go out
good.
too fast and blah blah blah, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah,
I in one of the episodes you defined it as why one of the reasons you like races so much is that okay, you've done all this training, you've prepped, now it's like the one moment in time where you're being asked to deliver and perform and
yeah,
tested. You're like tested.
yeah.
And how do you react to that test? How do you
Yeah,
deliver?
exactly. You're being
Uh,
asked a question.
you're being asked a question. Can you do X? And the other thing I realized listening to all these podcasts is how we value numbers, you and I. We
Yeah, yeah.
value these
Well,
big
because
numbers.
yeah, for me, sorry, the reason I value numbers so much is I just feel like there's so much, humans in general are just bias machines, right? We and there's a reason we're built like that, is survival, and it's just the way cognition works. Is anytime there's a shortcut, we're going to use our internal biases to kind of determine what the reality is. But numbers, there's no bias in numbers, right? So I feel like it can give you a different perspective, or it can give you an unbiased perspective on how things actually are, right?
This just turned into a Huberman podcast.
What?
A Huberman podcast.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Huberman. You don't listen to Huberman? Okay, you sounded like him, which is a compliment because he's one of the most listened to podcast artists on the planet. He's
Oh,
like he'd be like you and me if you took the best parts of you and the best parts of me and put them together and made a podcaster.
yeah.
That's what this guy is.
Oh,
And you
okay. Well,
and he's
yeah. So,
he's
anyways, yeah, I like numbers because it prevents me from, or it removes doubt in my assessments.
like you were so gung ho on this 12-hour Ironman. We talked about it at length in the episode. It was so important to you. But really doesn't matter if you did 12:01 or
No,
11:51,
no,
right?
no, exactly. Yeah,
And
yeah,
like for me, this 9 hour ultra, like a number that I picked out of the air that
yeah,
didn't mean anything to me before, but all of a sudden it was so important. And
yeah,
then when I did my last one, the world, like 15 hours, I had to break 15 hours in my
yeah,
head, and that's
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
we value numbers. So like this 3 hour, I would imagine number. Let's get to that. There, I have three things here that I wrote down that I want to chat about: the shoes, the drafting, and then the racing, pacing, and then goals. So we might not get to all of it. We might have to do another episode on this, but let's start with shoes in Boston. And just wait before we get to that. What the heck is going on with shoes right now? What's happening with Nikes? Alpha Flies, Vapor Flies? Fill me in because I don't know what the hell is
Yeah,
happening. Why is it so
me
hard for me to pay $300 for a pair of shoes?
supply chain issues. I don't know. There's no labor in I don't know. Um,
But tell the viewers what's happening.
so yeah, so I've been looking every day to see if I can get a brand new pair of Alpha Flies.
The Alpha Fly threes or fours?
Twos.
But they have the three.
The threes, you can't get them. Like, I mean, they've come out with like a special edition that they release every once in a while.
Okay, wait.
They are going to come with on April 4th. The new Alpha Fly threes will be available. Apparently, is what I heard.
Okay,
But
that's what they were telling me at the Nike store. So the threes came out, but they're just a few thousand pairs here and there, and
yeah,
they're like kind of
exactly.
like
Yeah,
soft launch, and they want to create a buzz. Fine.
yeah,
So those are impossible to get. I understand they're
yeah.
tougher, and that's
But
part of Nike's marketing.
they might be available on April 4th. Is kind of what I'm
Well,
understanding.
you would think they would make a billion pairs and have them ready at every store, because, anyways,
Yeah.
but the twos are impossible to find.
Well, that depending which size you are. So it like I think I have kind of a average size.
You're in the middle of the bell curve.
Yeah. So 10 and a halfs. And I have a bookmark on my browser on the Nike.com store. I check every day to see if there's any available. And it hasn't been available for a couple weeks now. So
When we were in LA, on my last four trips to the US, I stopped at Nike stores, both the retail outlets and the outlet outlets. And walked in and asked to buy a pair of Alpha Flies or Vapor Flies. And I've not been able to see one. And every guy I talk to or gal at every store is like, no, come on. Like, you think you're going to buy Alpha Flies? Like, come on, buddy. And it's like,
yeah.
what? Is that a foreign question? No, no, they just don't have them in stock. Don't have them in stock. Don't have them in stock.
Yeah.
Every store I've walked to, every online.
Yeah.
So I just got me thinking, like, what's happening? Like, why are they not? So obviously these shoes are the best shoes ever, clearly.
Well, I mean, so they are really good for sure. Like there's been the last few big races, apparently there haven't been as dominant as they were maybe 2, 3 years ago. Like, so there's these two other ones. Well, there's these Adidas Adi Zero, a special edition pro that they made for the pros, which was really like their results have been in these major marathons have been close or just as good as Nike's. But those are also unavailable, so that doesn't help either.
So yes, Saucony's got a carbon plate, Brooks has one, whatever. But if you want what I think is the best shoe, you can't. So what they did have in stock, the guy found for me way in the back. Uh, I think they were returned. Vaporfly threes.
Yeah, and
Now,
that's also a really good shoe. I've PR'd my half marathon in them, so
now these are. I had to go to a 10 and a half. I'm an 11 normally, but
oh
They didn't have 11s. I tried them in the store, and the guy's like, "Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just run him for your race and bring him back after. We have a 60-day, no hassles, no questions asked return policy." I was like, "Okay, well, I'm 700 kilometers away from home, but no, no, you can return them to your Nike store." So I bought them, and I said, "You know what? They fit pretty good. They're tight, but I think they fit pretty good. So I'm gonna try them better than no, because I only have two pairs of good shoes. I have one
but
pair of Alpha,
you're not gonna run Boston in those then. You can't have a shoe that's too small, man.
but I have other shoes that I wear 10 and a half. Like I'm between 10 and a half and 11. My Alpha Flies,
Yeah.
my Alpha Fly ones are 10 and a halves. My Alpha Fly twos are 11s. I've worn
Yeah, so
both.
what I've read, and this could be wrong, that you're better to err on going like half a size too big.
Too big.
for marathons, anyways.
I figured worst case, Charlie can have them if ever.
Yeah. No, 10.5 would be awesome for me.
They're not wasted, right? They're not
Yeah.
wasted, I figured. So I'm going to try them if they don't fit. But I only have two pairs of good shoes. I have my
Yeah.
Alpha Fly orange ones. I thought they were
Yeah.
under my desk. They're not. And then I have my Alpha Fly twos, which Marty wore and got blisters. So that's it. Those are my only
I
two
don't have
pairs.
ones. I don't have ones that are I've heard the ones are the best.
Unbelievable. My shoes with
Yeah.
the most mileage on them. I just released a video. Check it out on this page on the Run
Yeah.
with Rob channel. Did you see my honest review of the Hoka Bondi 8s?
No, I didn't see that one.
Okay, the mall walkers. So check that review and then check out the Alpha Fly knits. What are they called? Alpha Fly Next knit, Fly knit.
Basically, the first ones that
The
Elliot
first
wore.
ones. Yeah,
That Elliot wore when he did the 2-hour one.
remember you told me, hey, if you really want to shave your time in your marathon, buy the cheater shoes. I was in
I think
Minneapolis,
Patrick told you that before me.
or one of you two.
It was Patrick because you had them before me, actually.
I had them before you, and you were like, and then I wore them in Vegas.
Yeah. You wore them in Vegas, and I wore my like $100 shoes in Vegas.
Yeah,
And
it's,
so that those shoes have two marathons in them. They're actually very successful shoes. But
which ones?
my $100 Adidas SL10s.
You should do a review on them.
Yeah, well, they're so old. I don't know if they still make them or what.
It doesn't matter. Like we should make a review of them.
Anyways, they're really good.
So there you go. They're really good.
I mean, they're not Alpha Flies, but
So
good.
every race I've run in the last 3 years, I've run with most of them. I've run with my first edition Alpha Flies. A few with my second edition. They're just not quite as comfortable and as fast, I feel, as my first one. So I've kind of gone back to my first ones.
Yeah.
So I was debating which shoes to wear in Boston. So if these are a no go, then I'm wearing my orange Alpha Fly. Like they must have. I've done a lot of tough jogs with them. They must have 26 miles for a race, and I've done many Ironman with them, and so I must have, I don't know, a lot of miles.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you don't know how many miles your shoes have.
I don't. I have no clue.
So yeah, there's a way to try if you put them in Strava.
Oh, I know. I can track it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, not necessarily important, but it's nice to know. Like I have I have a same dilemma, but I have 3 shoes I want to pick from, and I have 2 pairs of Alpha Fly 2s. Oh, hey, you're there still? We're losing your picture.
I'm just keep going.
Yeah. So I have 2 pairs of Alpha Fly 2s, and I have a pair of Vapor Fly 3s that I'm debating. And what's interesting is that my old pair of Alpha Fly 2s, the one that I did my marathon PR on back a year, I guess November 2022, still always produce the best numbers in terms of efficiency every time I run with them. And they've got now 380 miles, and they feel really good every time I run with them. That 25 miler I did it with those. But it seems counterintuitive that a 25 mile or 380 mile shoes, unless they get better with age,
Like wine or cheese or whiskey.
the feel gets better. I don't know. So I did see there's a bit of a rip though on the upper on them. So I'm worried my shoe would pop out. So that's one option.
Sorry, that was your Alpha Fly 2s.
Alpha Fly 2s, my old Alpha Fly 2s.
What color are those?
The orange ones, they're really orange.
Pink?
Like no, orange, pure orange, all
Okay,
orange.
like my Alpha Fly ones.
Yeah, slightly different. Like mine's more orange than those actually, but
Well,
yeah.
Okay, mine are pretty orange. Yeah. Okay, keep going.
And then I've got my Alpha Fly 2 Eliud Kipchoge edition that I wore for New York, and I feel like those are good, but the numbers haven't been as good, and I think maybe they've just been like unlucky in terms of when I've run with them, and I was a little sick for New York, so they didn't perform that well for New York, and New York's a tough course. So I feel like maybe more, they're only at 40 miles. So I'm like, really, I should run with those, but there's evidence to say that they don't perform as well as the other ones. And then my third option is the Vaporfly 3s, which I did my PR in the half marathon, but I've had a few bad runs with them lately and they just don't feel as good. So I'm
I
not,
think it has to be the number one factor has to be how excited you are on a scale of 0 to 10, how they feel, how
yeah. Well, I am excited every time I run with any of those. Even I've got two other Vaporfly pairs, and every time I run with those, like one's got
so
500
you have
miles.
5 pairs of cheater shoes?
Yep, I have three Vaporflies, but they're getting really old. Three Vaporflies, two Alpha Flies. So my two oldest Vaporflies, one has 500 miles on them, and I still love running in them. So I'm not throwing them out anytime soon. They're going to be just my easy run shoes at some point. And then I've got another pair that's 400 miles that I ran with today and had a really good hill workout. They're still feel amazing, even though they got 400 miles on them. So yeah, I don't know. They're just good shoes, Vaporflies and Alpha Flies.
It's like a commercial for Nike.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I haven't tried. So, but I will buy. I will try out the. I will try out the Asics Adizero at some point
When they're never available?
when they become available, and then I will try out the Metaspeed Edge,
From which
Asics
brand?
Metaspeed Edge
Okay.
Paris, which apparently is a really good shoe as well. So,
Okay, yeah,
so I'm not saying, yeah. Anyways, so that's the shoe situation.
that's the shoe situation. Okay, I'm narrowed down to likely an orange pair that has a lot of like 400 miles on them, and you're narrowed down to you're probably gonna go with the orange pair, right? Who's the favorite at Vegas right now? The Vapors?
Vapors are the least favorite.
Least favorite. So it's gonna be either the Alphas or the Elliots.
Yeah, yeah.
The Elliots are white or whatever.
Or if I can get my hands on a new pair of Alpha Flies before then.
Elliot, Alpha Fly 2, Elliot Kipchoge. Yeah, okay, that shoe. I remember this one. It's got the
Yeah,
pink or stripe on it or
yeah.
something.
That's the one I wore in New York. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good shoes. I don't know if they're good shoes. You
Well, they
tell
should
me.
be the exact same as the other ones, but they just don't feel as good. Like it's the same model,
Right.
but they're newer.
Okay. Speaking of, are there any Elliots? Are there any superstars running Boston? Like,
I'm sure there are
I
every
mean, one of
year.
them's dead, but is
No,
Elliot?
Elliot's not running,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm sure
Okay.
that some of the top runners will be.
Okay. Um, I wrote two other things here. I wrote drafting in Boston.
Yeah, I think if it's against the wind, that we have to strategically pace is less important than drafting, right? So make sure we're behind someone the entire time.
I'm glad we did that race in SoCal with a big wind, and that even that just that run in Marchand when we were facing that big wind.
Yeah,
I mean, that run in SoCal was really big wind. Like that was
yeah,
really
yeah,
big wind. I don't think because then we learn how like we can't underestimate how strong that wind is and how much we need to draft. So I mean, there's going to be a million people, so like we should be able to draft the whole way, should we not?
yeah. We could just. It can be easier said than done, but I think it's very important to find somebody that's going at the correct pace and kind of readjust every once in a while. But like I think even if we're 2 or 3 seconds or 5 seconds off our pace, either too fast or too slow, I don't think I think it's more important to save that energy by being behind someone. So I think
How
we'll
many
have
people are running Boston? Is it 35,000 or something?
40,000, I believe. Yeah.
40,000. New York was 50,
Yeah.
52. So it's going to be roughly the same amount of people, give or
Well,
take.
there's probably even more at our pace though in Boston, right?
Right. So there's going to be more people at our pace
Yeah.
than New York. And
Yeah.
New
Oh,
York, like if there would have
I
been a
didn't
40
have
mile an hour
room.
wind,
I didn't have any room to run
that we
99%.
couldn't run, never mind draft. Like
Yeah,
we drafted the entire race just because we were behind someone.
yeah.
So I'm less worried about drafting. I think we will find someone, but we just have to remember to do it.
Yeah, yeah. If
And
if it's, if it's against the
if
wind.
it's against us, and if not, then we need to make sure we have clearance so that we get the wind.
Well, yeah, I don't think it matters too much if you're with. Yeah, like
Well, it kind of does. You don't want someone to draft you, like to cut your wind behind you, right?
oh maybe I don't know. I would have thought. Um,
If I'm running
Yeah.
and someone's running directly behind me,
Yeah.
he's getting the benefit of the wind, and I'm
Oh.
not.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Maybe. Is that a thing? Is that
That's
real?
a thing. That's a thing. For sure, that's a thing. But what
Okay.
happens is that guy is going to feel like passing you because he's
Yeah.
going to be going way faster. So he's
Yeah.
going to pass you. It's kind of like drafting in biking.
Yeah.
You end up slingshotting past. Okay,
Yeah, I
so
don't know. I haven't thought about with the wind. I wasn't too worried about. I feel like if we're with the wind, it'll be so easy, anyways. Like, sorry, it's still a marathon and it's still Boston there, but um,
it'll be easy. Yeah. I'm going to leave. So goals, racing strategy. We have another episode that I'd like to do just on that,
okay,
just on like what we're going to try to do. But loosely, we've talked about it a lot on this episode.
yeah,
You've said you wanted to break 3 hours in Boston. I've said that also. Uh, I think you're. I think we are both there or close to there, where that should be a goal, right?
yeah. So I keep flip flopping on that. Like, um, a month ago, had you asked me, I would have said like 10% chance. But after the last couple weeks with all these really good quality workouts I've been putting in, I feel like maybe 50-50. So pretty happy with my chances. Yeah.
I went the opposite. I was like 1000% sure I was going to do it. I was killing every workout, nothing was stopping me. And then I haven't jogged in a month, but I still think I have a 50. Yeah, I still think I have a good chance, an okay chance, a good chance, slightly more than 50-50, I hope.
Yeah.
So maybe we've come to the same place. Um, I want to share something with you real briefly. It's just a story. I want to share a story. As I'm sitting here, all these emails are coming in because last night, um, I was looking at my calendar for September.
Yeah.
Well, okay, longer story. I came back from this trip and I was like, I gotta, what's happening with the World's Championships triathlon? Like, have you heard me talk about that at all in the last? No, right? I've not talked about it. I've not thought about it. So I qualified for Team Canada for Olympic distance triathlon in Malaga, Spain, and I'm like, it's almost April. That's in 6 months, and I haven't heard anything about it. So I sent an email, hey, what's going on with that Worlds? Am I registered? Do I need to? And she's like, have you not been getting our emails? And I was like, no. And I guess there was either an error or something. I wasn't getting the emails. So
Yeah.
she forwarded me the last email, and like I missed the deadline to register for the team trial. I missed the deadline to order the branded
Oh,
Team
okay.
Canada Tetro stuff. I missed and then she's gonna take care of me, and she said, "Don't worry, we'll figure it out." I can't order a bike anymore in Malaga because they're all sold out. You can't bring your triathlon bike. I didn't even know that. You can't have a tri bike at triathlon. You can't have. Yeah, you have to have a road bike.
Oh, so that means it's draft legal. You're allowed to
It's
draft.
draft legal. It's draft legal.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. Actually, that'll be to your advantage.
So I was just,
That's to
and
your
then
advantage because you can like you don't have to be as good of a biker. I think.
just follow the pack.
Yeah, just make sure you always be at the back of it. Don't ever go to the front.
But I mean, I'm not gonna compete with the world champ. I'm there to have a good
Yeah,
time,
yeah, no, I know, but whatever group you end up in, like,
Yeah.
uh, don't push to the front ever.
And so now I need to figure out how to. I need a bike. I mean, I have a box, so I can just rent the bike here, I guess, and bring my bike. But I
But
was
sorry,
just
you
like,
can't bring like if you had a road bike, you wouldn't be able to bring it.
you can, yeah, you can. But they were saying like, just rent a bike there,
Yeah,
unless
yeah,
you're like elite competitive.
yeah, yeah.
Like if you're just age, they call us age groupers. And then she's like, "Have you signed up on Slack yet?" And I was like, "No." She sent me the link. There's like 10,000 messages there's 300 people I think on Team Canada,
Yeah.
and they're all in the same Slack app, and they're all asking about accommodation. Anyway, so I just spent all night just reading messages. So I'm way, way, way far behind. And then that got me thinking, that's just how unorganized I am. And then I got me thinking I should probably look into like what the rest of my calendar looks like for September, October, because that's a busy time. Because I have my PhD grad, I have the Buck Hunt World Championships, was thinking maybe doing your Ironman, maybe that's October 27th, right?
26th
26th. Is it the Saturday?
Saturday.
Oh, That would have been so good because my grad was supposed to be October 27th in Irvine.
Oh, okay.
So I could have, in theory, gone, did your Ironman, and then just taken a 6 hour Uber or whatever and caught my grad the next morning. But now I can't because they moved it to the Friday. So I can't
Oh,
so I can't catch my grad and the Ironman.
oh, okay.
So I'm missing that. But then I looked at Chicago. I'm in, so the World Championships for Buck Hunter, Big
Yeah,
Buck
yeah.
Hunter, are in Chicago,
Which I thought that was like,
October 12th, that
oh, right. It
weekend.
was right before New York last year, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, what's going on? I like to run a half marathon when I go places. So I'm like, I'll see. It's the week before the Worlds. So the Worlds are the
Yeah, yeah.
20th. So I'm like, I'll see what's going on. I looked. Guess what's happening on Sunday the 12th in Chicago,
The
October 12th.
Chicago Marathon.
The Chicago Abbott Major Marathon.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was like, oh,
Yeah, I
cool.
knew it was around there, but you can't get in now.
Well, uh, so that's why I'm getting all these emails right now. So I went online, and sure enough, the deadline was 6 months ago to
Yeah, yeah.
register
No,
for
I
it.
knew it was a long time ago. Yeah.
And the deadline for charity bibs was 3 months ago or whatever.
Okay.
So I looked and I looked and I clicked on all the charity bibs and sold out, sold out, sold out. There's like, I don't know, maybe 100 different charities. The way it works is you find a charity that you can connect with.
Yeah,
They'll accept you, and if you commit to fundraising their amount, which is
yeah.
2,000, they'll connect you and they'll get you a charity bib.
Okay.
So I started emailing one by one. I started emailing, copy paste, same email to all the emails in the every single email that didn't have sold out on their website. So I sent like 50 emails last night, and I got like two or three. You know what? We can make this happen for you. So, anyways, I signed up for the Chicago Marathon.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna run it that Sunday morning while I'm there. Not
Nice.
not to do a PB or anything because I won't possibly be able to because that's the night we go out usually. But I don't know, just to check it off the list and take it out of the way, and I don't have to. So I'll run like a 4 hour or something. It'll be my last training run before Triathlon World Championships,
Oh, nice. That's
which
awesome.
are 5 6 days later.
Chicago would be a fun one to run.
Do you want to come?
Uh, no.
Because we have the RV. We're taking the RV and we're going.
Don't know.
Anyways, back in the, but
I've got my Ironman, so that's gonna be
yeah, that's 2 weeks before Ironman.
yeah, probably gonna be doing a 5 hour bike ride or something.
But you could do a 4 hour leisurely jog as an equivalent.
Yeah, yeah, no, it wouldn't hurt, but
But you probably want to like do 257 at Chicago or
no, no,
something.
I wouldn't care
I
about
just want to, I'm there. I'm going to be there. And it's
yeah,
tough to get to these international races and to book it with your family and your kids
yeah,
and your,
yeah,
so I figured I'm there. I might as well check that one off the list and then I'll have
yeah,
Chicago done.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, it's good.
And
That's
I
awesome.
offered to be a pacer, 4 hour pacer.
Oh
So,
yeah, I'm sure they don't have a 4 hour pacer yet.
well, they actually asked me, could I be like the charity team asked me to pace the charity team.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah,
So yeah, they probably don't have any pacers, but well, whatever. If they could always have more 4 hour pacers because
that's
it's such a
that's
big
one
group.
where you need quite a few because like you might need more
In
than
every
one.
corral, in every gate, in every you need a 4 hour pacer,
Yeah, yeah, you
right?
should have multiple. You should need multiple. I don't know how Chicago works, but that's a Boston is interesting though how that one works. But yeah,
Okay, let's talk about how the corrals work in Boston. Anyway, so I'm doing Chicago Marathon. I'm signed
yeah,
up.
I'm happy for you. That's great.
You
I'm
sound
a
super
little
happy.
jealous. A little
Oh,
jealous.
okay, okay, you're jealous. All right, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do it with you. All right, I get it.
No, no, it's
But
okay.
I just so I'll be doing in the span of a week. I'll be participating in two world championships. Would you argue that are close to at extreme ends of events?
What's that?
Buck Hunt World Championships, the
Yeah,
RDM
yeah,
thing,
that's pretty
and
different. Yeah,
then Ironman, and then triathlon. Anyways, I'm really excited about that. But
yeah,
uh, Bibs, sorry, corrals, real quick, and then we'll wrap this episode up. And then next episode we can chat about. I'd love to get into the details because you and I have talked a little bit about it, the hills, the pacing, the negatives, how we're gonna do Boston. And one of the things I've learned in listening to our podcast is you can throw all that shit out the window because it's all by feel once you get going.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So how do they work? They do a bunch of corrals in Boston? Is it like New
Yeah, it's
York?
very similar to New York. There's, I think, less waves though. I think there's maybe four waves, three or four waves. I don't know. So we're in, I think there's three waves. Yeah. So we're in wave one, and we're kind of at the middle to back. So there's seven corrals, I think, or eight. I'm not sure how many corrals there are, but I think there's like eight per wave. And we're 4 and 5. I'm in four and you're, sorry, I'm in five and you're in six.
Okay, but
And,
we'll
but
run that together.
yeah, we'll definitely run together. I'll move back because our qualifying times are kind of put us maybe a little too far ahead. So
Yeah,
we
we're two
probably need,
minutes. Oh, right. On top of that, the cheater qualifying times.
well, yeah. So like I'm in at 254, you're at 256, but we really want to run more like a three. So we probably have to move back a little bit, right? So
Yeah. I wonder how I thought in New York it was brutal. By the way, I recorded the entire race and I don't know if that video is up yet. If not, check it out. It's going to be up soon. Check it out on this channel. The entire 3 hour and 20-minute New York Marathon. And the beginning of it, I'm zigzagging through people the whole way because people didn't properly um, seed themselves, right? I guess is the word.
yeah, yeah.
So, do you think Boston will be better for seeding, for like placing yourself?
Um,
Everyone who's going to
I would
run this
imagine it
race,
would be slightly better for sure. Yeah, but either way, like, does the first mile really matter if you're 20 or 30 seconds? Like, but yeah, no, different question. But I think it'll be better. Yes.
I I think it definitely seeding, placing yourself and seeding, it definitely does. Think of the stress you had in the Ironman because you started at
Swimming in
140.
an Ironman, yeah, it's a different story. But I would
I know it's
say,
a different story, but you still had to pass people the whole way.
yeah, yeah. But I would say in a marathon like this, yes, it can be a factor, but you can mitigate it by not going too crazy and not like trying to pass everyone. And just kind of wait for your opportunity.
Okay, but
Better
there
to
was
better to wait a little bit and lose 30 seconds on the first mile or 20
yeah,
seconds on the first mile, and then
but there were three paths at New York or whatever
yeah,
they're called.
yeah.
Is that similar in Boston or no?
No, it's just one. It's
So think
actually
it's going to
straight
be
to,
packed. It's going to be packed,
yeah, yeah.
packed,
I've
packed,
seen the
shoulder to
video.
shoulder.
So I've seen people kind of, they think it's going too slow. So they go on the side where there's like a sidewalk, but then there's volunteers saying they have to go back. Yeah, it's pandemonium. The Boston start is going to be more hectic than the New York start, I think.
Right. So seating is way more important because you're
Yes,
kind of going to run with
agreed.
the pack.
Agreed. We want to absolutely find the right seed. And but at the same time, I know that in general, people go way too fast.
Right. So we can go a little bit further behind.
Like I would like to be in like the 305 range group somewhere around there to start.
3 to 305, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I'm guessing would be like right at the back of wave one, right?
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. This is coming up. Whew.
Yeah, yeah.
My whole life I've wanted to run Boston. I never thought I'd be able to do it. I thought I would do it like in my 60s or 70s as an old man
Yeah.
once I decided to get in shape. And I loved listening to you and your 3 year plan to break three. It was like you had a 3 year plan to break three and to qualify for Boston.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And
So
you did it in 18 months.
yeah, I did it in 18 months. Yep.
So if you're at home and you're sitting on your couch and you're a part-time jogger or whatever and you think you can't do it, we were two obese guys, 250 pounds. We were not jogging at all, zero. And here we are running Boston Marathon 2 years, I guess 3 years later.
Yeah,
But
just over 3 years. Just
we
over 3
qualified
years.
18 months after we
Yeah.
started running. That included losing 60. You lost like 70 pounds. I lost like 65 pounds. So losing weight, getting in shape, and then just building up that VO2 max, that speed, the leg strength, all of that over a year and a half to get to the point where we could qualify for Boston. Yes, we did a cheater marathon, a downhill marathon in Vegas, but dude, you just qualified for Boston at the New York Marathon
Yes, I did.
with
Yeah.
a
No,
with arguably one of your shittier runs.
no, it wasn't I mean, it was a great run. I just think that
If you were
I
to do that today, you're not doing a 311.
Yeah, no, if I run New York today, I'm going way faster than
Yeah.
311.
So
I
not
think.
shittier, but like
Yeah.
wasn't your best effort and you qualified for
Yeah,
Boston.
yeah. No, but it's, it takes a while, it takes a long time, and but
It,
it's just that's why you have to enjoy the training, right? Because
the journey. Enjoy the
yeah,
journey.
yeah. Uh
Segues to the running journey. This is our podcast. Did I cut you off? Sorry, you were going to say something.
no, no. So just today, my Garmin told me that my VO2 max is up to 58, highest it's ever been.
58. I'm at 55. Oh my God, you're killing me.
Yeah, but then you beat me in the race, so what does it matter, right?
Oh, I don't know. I was so sure I was going to beat you, and now I'm like, I'm not so sure. But regardless, I'm at peace with
But
that.
only because like I've improved so much in the last
You
month.
have,
Like,
and I've maybe took a step back a little bit, maybe perhaps.
yeah,
Um,
maybe I would say.
I'll go find out. I'm gonna go for a jogger right now. I'm gonna try out these shoes, and I am asking you guys to like and subscribe. Get us your comments below if you'd like to uh, hit us up with any thoughts that you have, stuff that we should chat about, this guest that we should have on the show. And don't forget to like us wherever you listen to your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever. Thank you guys for so much. Next episode, we're getting into strategy for the Boston Marathon. I'm excited. I'm Rob. This is my brother Charlie. Thank you. We'll see you in the next video.